Hey guys. All right, book haul time for the month of August. Now, I know what you're thinking. Some of you are already screaming at me. You just said you're not going to buy any more books until you read 10 books, Sarah, blah, blah, blah. I know. These have all been sitting here since I made that video. So all this happened before I had a little panic attack and said, okay, I've got to stop buying books until I read some more off my shelves and start getting rid of some so I can have more room on my shelves. So don't worry, these were all sitting here before, and we're just going to go ahead and haul them. And then my next haul will be after I read 10 books and I can actually go and purchase some. So it'll probably be when my library sale is on September 21st, because I do plan to hit that up and get some gifts and, things like that. Maybe one or two for myself, depending on what they have and depending on how many I'm allowed to buy, because I'm sticking to my 10. And I know that I will be able to read 10 before then, so I'll be good to go. All right, let's start with books that were sent to me by publishers. This first one was sent to me by William Morrow, and it's one that I've never heard of before. And this is called Lies in White Dresses by Sophia Grant. And this one is set in the 1950s in Reno, Nevada. Now, this is something that I believe is based on actual events, or maybe not a certain person, but it's based on a ranch that was in Reno that women could go to when they were getting divorced. And it was like a 6-week, almost like a retreat, so that they could go and they could find themselves. They can it's almost like learn how to get divorced or learn how to be divorced. Who are you going to be after you're divorced? That type of thing. And I believe that was a place that actually existed. So this is a historical take on that and following two best friends who go to this ranch together because they're both getting divorced. And I believe the nickname for this ranch was called the Reno Cure. So it'll be interesting. Like I said, I hadn't heard of this until they sent it to me, but when I read the synopsis, I was like, that is very interesting. And I think that's going to be a very interesting conversation to have and to see, just imagine women today doing something like this. It's just such a different culture now than it was back in the 1950s. So I think this will be a very interesting read, and I'm definitely going to pick it up. And this comes out September 17th. This next one was actually sent to me by Amazon Publishing called Little A, and that is Disastrous Children by Emma Slowly, and this one comes out November 5th. And this is a post-apocalyptic book where something has happened in the world. However, our main character lives in a very wealthy, privileged neighborhood where they had the means to protect themselves from whatever is happening outside in the world. So they're very cushy and cozy where they are. However, they're also very isolated. And I believe our main character is wanting to understand what's happening outside, and she is trying to decide if she's going to leave her very comfortable situation and take the risk of going out there. And I believe there are things that are happening inside this compound that is making her question things as well. So she's trying to figure out exactly what's going on. I'm very interested to read this. And again, it comes out in November. So I would like to read it sometime around then for sure and see what this is all about. This next one was sent to me by Harper, and that is The Butterfly Girl by Renee Denfeld, and this comes out October 1st. This is actually the second book behind The Child Finder by Renee Denfeld, which I do own and I haven't read yet, but now I definitely want to. And I'm thinking about maybe trying to read both of those books and do like a duology, or, the first two books type of wrap up type thing review. So we'll see if that can happen. I just don't know if this is going to be the last one or if there's going to be more coming after that, since this is so new. We're not sure what's going to come after this, but I'm definitely interested in reading The Child Finder. I've heard really, really good things about it, and it's not very long. So I don't know too much about this one just because I haven't read the first one yet. So I'm not looking into the synopsis very well. But for those of you who have read The Child Finder and really liked it, a second book comes out following the same character, I believe, October 1st. This next one was sent to me also by William Morrow. This one is actually already out, and that is The Lost Daughter by Gil Paul. And this one came out on August 27th, so it is available now. Gil Paul wrote a book that I really ended up enjoying, and that was Another Woman's Husband. I did a whole reading vlog for that one, and I loved that book. And this is another one by her. So the tagline on this is the story of Anastasia Romanov's sister Maria and her fight for love. So this follows Anastasia's sister. And I don't know much about the Romanovs or their family. I would like to know more and to maybe read some historical books based on their family and their lives and everything. So this is a great place to do that as well. So if anyone really likes stories that involve the Romanov family, this would be a good one to pick up. And again, it's available now. All right, this next one was sent to me by Harper as well, and I have not heard of this book, but when I read the synopsis, I went, yes, please. That's The Chestnut Man. This is by Soren Sviestrup. Why not? All right, so this one is a translated work, and it is by a man who... it says the creator of The Killing. Now, The Killing was a show on Netflix that I loved. I loved that show. It was so dark and interesting. It was like a murder mystery, detectives. Oh, it was so good. I was obsessed with that show when it was on. So just knowing that he was one of the creators and writers of that show, I was like, I'm automatically interested in this. So this one is definitely a thriller book. This one is set in Copenhagen, and it follows a detective story, basically. And what happens is there's a young girl that is murdered. She is dismembered, and her body parts have been scattered, apparently. There is a mentally ill young man who has confessed to killing her, but he cannot give any details about it or tell them where her body is. So there's not really any closure for this young girl's family, right? They just know that she is dead. And it's about a year later, I believe, and there is another victim, and next to this victim is a little figurine in the ground made of chestnuts, and it looks like a body made of little chestnuts. And one of those chestnuts has a fingerprint of the young girl that was murdered a year ago. So there's a connection for sure. And so now they're questioning whether or not the person who confessed to doing this is actually telling the truth. Is there a serial killer out there still killing? And I believe along the way they find more and more evidence that, they're closer to finding the person who actually killed this young girl as well, but he's still killing other people. And you're following the detectives trying to solve this. And I'm like, this is my jam. I love this kind of stuff. And I'm super excited that they sent this to me. It's a big book, but thrillers, like once I get into them, I'm into them. And I'm very excited about this one. This one comes out September 3rd. So like right now. And if you guys are interested, pick this one up. I believe this is also a book of the month pick for September from what the press release here told me. So that's exciting. And yeah, I'm excited to read this one for sure. All right, and another one that showed up at my door from William Morrow. Oh my gosh. Guys, The Last Widow by Karen Slaughter. Now, I can't read it yet. I really, really want to though. Here's why. Because this is book number 9 in her Will Trent series. Number 9. I have not started the Will Trent series. And I can't start the Will Trent series until I read the Grant County series first, because you're supposed to read in that order, Grant County, Will Trent, because the two merge, the main characters in both of those series merge together. And, there's like a lot of crossover. So you're supposed to read Grant County first and then Will Trent. I haven't read either yet. So yeah. I have heard that you could probably read this without reading the whole rest of the series if you really want to, but I'm a diehard Karen Slaughter fan, and I want to read it correctly. I want to read it in order. I want to get all the backstories. I want to get all the characters and let them just seep into my life and take me over. That's what I want. So I'm super appreciative that William Morrow sent me this early copy of this book, and that I have it on my shelves, and that when I'm ready to read it, I do have it. And yeah, so, but for those of you who are caught up and do read this in order, this one is out. Very exciting. And yeah, I'm super excited. And you guys, the last 2 books that were sent to me by publishers are both 2020 releases. I've already gotten some 2020 releases. Can you believe that? The first one is one that I requested because I had seen it on Instagram and it was gorgeous. So I looked more into the synopsis, and it sounds really interesting and something that I would enjoy. So I went ahead and requested it, and they sent it to me. So I'm really excited. So this came to me from Wednesday Books. and that is Diamond City. This is by Francesca Flores, and again, it comes out in January. And I'm going to read you the little blurb on the back because this is basically all I know about it, but it was enough to get me to request the book. So meet Anya Solis, whose wit is as sharp as her blade. 18-year-old Anya is a professional assassin with a bounty on her head in an industrial wasteland full of half-constructed subway tunnels, blood magic, secret markets, and wolf-sized spiders. Only one girl holds the power to change her city forever. So this sounds like it's going to be maybe a mix of fantasy and sci-fi a little bit, and one girl is in charge of seeing to some change that needs to happen in the city, most likely some corruption happening and all that. So I'm definitely interested in this, excited to read it. And this next one is also out in January of 2020, January 28th, and that is My Dark Vanessa, and this is by Kate Elizabeth Russell, and this is a debut novel, and this one was also sent to me by William Morrow. Now this one is going to be dark. This one follows a woman who sees on the news one day that a professor from when she went to college, one of her professors, is accused of sexual assault or sexual misconduct allegations, something like that. I don't know if it goes into physical or not. And he's accused by a female student, and it becomes public. There's an investigation going on. She sees this on the news, I believe, and she is really confused because she knows this man. He's her professor. She also had an affair with him when she was in school. And in her mind, it was all consensual. It was all real. They were in love, blah, blah, blah. Even though the relationship didn't last, it was all good in her mind, and they ended on good terms and all that. But now things are starting to come out, I believe, and she's starting to question whether or not her memories are correct. So I think this is going to go really deep into the psyche of things like that, and maybe explore the question of, even if you think something's consensual, is it really consensual? And, do you have the right memories of that? So this is going to be very dark, and I am really excited to get into it. So a huge, huge, huge thank you to all the publishers for sending me those books. I am so excited for each and every one. Okay, let's talk about books that I bought, because I bought some. Actually, the first book we're going to talk about is a book that was sent to me from my lovely friend Candace, who I have buddy read a few books with, and we need to read some more, girlfriend, because you're a wonderful buddy reader. And she's so sweet, and we've gotten to know each other. And she sent me a message one day and said, "Do you have a wish list?" And I said, "Yeah." And then a few days later, this showed up at my door, and I was like, "What are you doing?" So I yelled at her already. But she sent me The Empress of All Seasons by Amiko Jean. And this is a young adult fantasy book for sure, and I believe it's Asian inspired. So I really do want to pick this up at some point. I want to read more books that are Asian inspired, especially fantasies. I think they're really interesting, and they're so complex, and I love it. And I love the culture that is intertwined into them as well. And so thank you so much. This one's been on my wish list for a while since it came out because I was really interested in it. So Candace, you are the best, and thank you. All right, so a couple books I got on eBay. Karen Slaughter. We just talked about The Last Widow, and I can't read it because I haven't read the series yet. But I'm going to change that because I got the first two books in her Grant County series. Now, I got the UK covers because I like them a lot better than the US covers. It's really hard to find the paperback sizes of books in her series that I like because they are older series, and a lot of them are mass market paperbacks. And I just, I don't prefer to read mass market paperbacks. It's really hard to hold them in my hands. I don't enjoy the process of them. The type is so small, so I prefer like the bigger paperbacks. So because of that, I went ahead and got the UK covers on eBay. So the first one is Blindsided, and the second one is Kiss Cut. I actually ordered the third one as well, but a mass market paperback showed up and it wasn't even the same cover, so I had to say no thank you, and I got my money back. But I'm gonna wait until I get these two read first, and then get the rest of the series probably after that. I believe the first series is 6 books, and then it goes into Will Trent, which book number 9 just came out. But these aren't super long, so I could definitely read these quickly, and it's Karen Slaughter, so I love her. And then I grabbed a book on Amazon because this is one that has been on my wish list for a very long time. I'm very excited to read this. I have plans to read this very soon, actually, and that is Salthill Girls by Claire Legrand. Every book I've read by Claire Legrand so far has been a 5-star read for me, and I have a feeling this will be no different. And this is a young adult horror book, basically, and I'm very excited to pick this up and read it. I've heard very, very, very good things from a lot of people who have read this book, and it went on sale on Amazon. I think I got it for $7, maybe even less. I can't remember exactly. It's been a few weeks since I bought it, but it was enough that I went, ooh, I'm gonna get that. These next two I got at Goodwill because I happened to just pop in there because that's what I do, but I was very excited. I found Catch-22 by Joseph Heller, and this is the edition that I wanted. I found this book before in a few different places, but it was always different covers that I didn't really like, or mass market paperbacks. So when I found the anniversary edition paperback that I wanted, I grabbed it. It does have like a pen mark or something on the front, but like whatever, it's fine. For $3, I'm not going to complain about that, right? And yeah, so I'm really excited to read this one. This is on the Great American Reads list, so I do plan to read it at some point, but it is kind of a humorous take on military warfare from what I'm understanding, and I'm really interested in it. Another one that I grabbed at Goodwill is Second Chance Summer by Morgan Matson. I have not read a Morgan Matson book yet, and this is now the third one of hers that I own, but I really want to, and this is one that I've always wanted, and I love this cover. It's so beautiful and shiny and gorgeous, and I love it. So yeah, $3, I grabbed it. And then one day we went to Barnes & Noble, and we weren't even there for me. We were there for my husband because he wanted to get something, and I was like, well, we're here. I'm going to look at stuff. So naturally, I'm looking at the bargain table, and I found this one, which has been on my wish list for a little bit as well. This is The Blade Itself by Joe Abercrombie. This is the first book in his First Law trilogy, and I've heard really good things about it. So I got it for $5.98, for this really large, oversized paperback. That's my love language. You guys know that. So I went ahead and grabbed it. Joe Abercrombie is definitely an author that I would like to give a try. I have not read anything by him yet, but I'm hearing great things. So I figured I would go ahead and grab it while it was cheap. And then the last one that I also picked up at Barnes & Noble was on a table that was 20% off of these books. And then it was an extra 10% off for club members, which my husband is a club member. So I stole his card and I was like, I'm going to get me an extra 10% off of this. And I grabbed this one right off that table, and that's Thunderhead by Neil Shusterman. This is book number 2 in his Scythe trilogy, and it just came out in paperback. So I have the first book in paperback, and I wanted to make sure I got the second book in paperback as well. And yeah, so I grabbed it at a discount, and I'm going to take that. Thanks, Barnes & Noble. Okay, guys, that's it. All right, so that was a good haul. That was a good haul. Now, I will have a September haul because I am going to go to my library book sale, but it should be very much more limiting. It will not be this many books because I am now, buy 10 before I can even shop. And then I'm going to bring in less than what I read. That's kind of my plan going forward here for the rest of the year. So wish me luck, but I'm doing good so far. I'm doing good. I did not hit up the Barnes & Noble book haul sale that just happened. That kind of hurt my heart a little bit. Books A Million also had a 50% off thing going on, so I stayed away from that. I just stayed away. I stayed away. All right, let me know down below if you guys have read any of these. Let me know if you're excited about any of the arcs that I hauled as well, and we will talk to you guys again soon. Hope you have a great day. Bye.